to see where we can share the link from.
Okay.
We have to share the link. Okay. Let's see for others. Okay. I'm trying to find out whether we are actually there already.
Oh, okay, I think you need to confirm a little bit.
Yeah, I see there is, I think, someone already.
Oh, okay, that's great.
Yes, I think we are starting. Hello. Welcome to the Real Chat. I'm your host, Mrs. Mope Kanga. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. And our topic today is the struggles and upheavals in abusive relationships and marriages. So, of course, some of you might think, how come we thought about this topic and all that? But some few months ago, I put free online counseling for all the family members on the page, and I thought it would be about parenting, but mostly all the inquiries that came in actually were pointing at marriages and relationships. People were asking for advice regarding their marriages, their relationships, something, how complicated it is. And I thought maybe this would be a good topic for us to cover. So that's why I came up with this topic, and I believe by the time the session ends, we will all have an idea on what an abusive relationship or marriage can be or can look like. Because of course some might be in that so-called abusive relationships and marriages, and yet they are not aware. We've had husbands kill their wives, we've had wives kill their husbands. And my question has always been, why do we have to first wait till they die? Could there be genuine reasons why? That is a question I believe we are going to answer as we go on with the session. So as we wait for the other guests, with me in studio right now is Mr. Bajenda Wycliffe. He is the Public Relations Officer for the Ultimate Team. Wycliffe, you can say hello to the viewers and tell us about the Ultimate Team as we wait for the guests coming.
Hello, our dear viewers. Thank you so much for joining us once again. I believe there could be some other people who are watching live who joined us last time. Thank you so much for that great question, and we believe our discussions and our conversations shall be paramount to you. I am Wycliffe Vaenda, just as Irene has told you, and I'm the spokesperson for the Ultimate Team. The Ultimate Team is a young music label, but what is core and what is most important, we are trying to merge our efforts with social life. Just like I appeared on this live stream the last time we talked about teenage pregnancies, we want to make sure we are not only available for those who are in for art or for music, but also for those who are facing social challenges. That's why we are almost everywhere. We are in for music production, at the same time, we are in for social life. And we have been running that campaign for stopping teenage pregnancy, and today is the 27th day. out of this 30 days, we had agreed to make this online campaign, and we branded these days 30 Days of Impact. So we are trying to broaden our impact from what may seem to be a smaller level of participation to now something broad. Now we are in for struggles and upheavals in abusive relationships and marriages. We do this just because most of our members might be facing this, or maybe there could be young boys and children that we are working with as the ultimate team who are victims of domestic violence in their families or violence of any sort. So we realized we can do a holistic approach that our members can benefit from, and even the community as a whole. So basically that's it. And maybe briefly about the ultimate team. It was begun by Mwanzi Kitoke. He calls himself Rodwell. He does that because he's an audio producer. He started this from Nyakasura School in Fort Portal and later joined UCU. Apparently, he's pursuing a bachelor's degree in social work at UCU. So he told me to bring regards from management to all our viewers, because surely you're doing great work by supporting us. You've supported us right away from the first day of our campaign up to now. That is great work. You're doing some great work. You give us feedback. We have seen feedback online, and we are sure this shall be productive to everyone. Back to you, Irene, if you can still hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you so much, Weekly, for
Yeah,
that. And
you're welcome.
yes, and again, if you've just joined us, it is a real chat with Mrs. Mutekanga, and our topic today is the struggles and upheavals in abusive relationships and marriages. So we are still waiting for our other guests to join us, but we will continue the discussion as they join in. So once again, thank you so much for joining us. We are so humbled. Thank you for giving us your time and the opportunity for us to discuss this important topic with you all. So, Wycliffe, if I may ask, can you tell us more about abusive relationships and marriages, broader view, broader picture of what you mean when you talk about abusive relations?
Mm.
Is it only
Oh,
physical or it goes beyond physical abuse?
okay. Thank you so much, Irene. First of all, I want to thank you, Irene, for choosing a topic that almost all of us are most likely to face, or perhaps have faced it. I know most of our viewers outside there might have faced struggles in their relationships, or perhaps their official marriages. So, first of all, we shall need to understand the concept of struggles, or perhaps upheavals, as physical or maybe sexual, yeah, or emotional. It is a bit bigger. So to me, I don't simply see it as physical, because even if someone tells you a word that is hurting, that's abusive itself, yeah. And and um, and when it becomes physical, perhaps this person can be battering you or fighting you. And when we talk about these fights, we don't only talk about women. Men are equally facing the same challenge, yeah. So we realized this shall not only be a discussion based on the victims who are females, but also males, though sometimes men don't tend to show that they are being abused in their relationships or their marriages. But when we try to probe, when we try to get deep into this, we realize males are also victims of this. So, and sometimes when you are trying to interrogate, or maybe trying to probe from these men, when you try to get deep into this issue, we realized men are equally the victims of these abusive relationships and marriages. So basically, that's it. That's how I try to understand abusive relationships and marriages.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Wesley, for that. And surely, when we talk of abusive relationships and marriages, I want to believe it is emotional, it is physical, it is spiritual. When you find it's economical, when you find someone like if you're a partner and you're in charge of everything, you control everything, then you have to put question marks. You control everything and then you leave your partner just out there. Also, I've heard of men who say maybe me I want a woman who I'm going to live at home and they have not to do anything. There is nothing they don't have to, and because they can easily be controlled in that way. So I don't know whether that is also part of the abusive relationships and marriages, but I believe we will find out as we go on. So you can for those who are just joining us, you can send in your comments, you can ask questions, you can give in your submissions, you can let it be an interactive conversation because it's a real chat with everyone. So it's not only us giving our views, but you can also give in your views. So thank you so much once again for joining in. And what I wanted to ask, um, have you, to you of course, briefly, why is it that some people find it so hard? Like I've stated before, like here in the news, a man has killed a wife, or a wife has killed a husband, more so in front of children, and you wonder why does it have to come to this? Do you think there is a way an abusive partner can change to be a better person?
Guilt is a high that this victim can get a better life. Yeah, but the problem is that we try to engage the government, or maybe we engage the police before the victims, or maybe we the people can try to bring some help. So I believe there could be so many other parties that can help these people. First of all, maybe if you're a neighbor of this victim, or maybe you're a service provider or a social worker in your community, or maybe you're a counselor in your community, it ultimately starts with you. It must start with you even before you go for a third party, or maybe trying to engage the government. So on a ground of being a friend, maybe on a ground of being a friend to a victim of this abuse, you would make sure you create that environment of this person talking to you. And sometimes they may even initiate this talk with you. And what is most important for all our viewers is that listen to these people. Whereas we try to run for trained social workers, or maybe we try to run for counselors, even the people who live with these victims can do something for these people. And what is most important is listening to them. When you listen to them, they will trust you with their secrets, they will trust you with the information, and maybe you can have something to do for them. And later on, when they tell you their issues, you make sure you engage them extremely. You engage them, and when you're trying to engage them, make sure you don't decide for them. You make sure you help them make an informed decision by broadening, or maybe by breaking down what they are going through. And of course, you will first engage them, and they will tell you how perhaps they could have begun. And you try to measure, you try to see as a friend to see what exactly do they need. Yeah. So there are great chances that these victims can still live happily in their marriages and in their relationships without necessarily without quitting. Yeah. And maybe to add on that, when this person is talking to you, when the victim is talking to you, you don't have to blame them, because maybe it wasn't their own fault, or maybe they got into this relationship when they were not ready. So what you don't have to blame anyone. Actually, you even don't have to blame the oppressor, and you don't have to blame the oppressed. All you need to do is to listen and then help them make an informed decision.
Okay, thank you so much, Wesley,
Yes.
for that. And for those who are just joining us, it's the real chat with Mrs. Mushekanga. Thank you so much for joining in. And our topic today is the struggles and upheavals in abusive relationships and marriages. So far, we've talked about the warning signs of an abusive relationship, and also we talked about maybe why people stay in abusive relationships. And Wycliffe, if I may ask you, how can you know that what you're in is an abusive relationship or marriage? Like, what are those indicators? Something that happens, and then someone is like, okay, maybe this is now becoming abusive, because I believe maybe not all relationships or marriages start like that, but maybe it develops along the way.
Thank you so much, Irene, for that question. What our viewers should know is that for any abusive relationship, there is always feedback from the victim. So this feedback clearly shows you that there is something wrong with a relationship or a certain marriage. And this feedback may not be verbal or may not be spoken, but depending on what you see, yeah. Maybe this can be a simple illustration. If this lady is married off and maybe she has great weight, yeah, and then with time you realize she's losing weight so quickly. She may not tell you this. She may not tell you that maybe she's facing hurdles in her relationship. Yeah. But maybe you, as a friend, or maybe as a counselor or a social worker, out of your observation, you realize this person is a victim of abuses in relationships and marriages. More to that, if these people can have trust in you, they will tell you, yeah, these victims will tell you, they will try to narrate to you the whole story, yeah. They try to engage you, and then these people are facing hassles in relationships. And more to that, if there is no progress, maybe in a relationship or a marriage, if there isn't any sort of progress, then probably there could be something wrong. Yeah, there could be abuse, perhaps physically or emotionally, and maybe this lady or this man is not concentrating. Yeah, so even their work is affected, the whole situation in the family is affected, and there isn't anything going on in these relationships. They are always, even if anything goes extreme to physical fights. Perhaps if you're neighboring a very noisy couple, you try to hear alarms, yeah, because of mere fights. You realize there is something wrong with this relationship. Back to you, Irene.
Okay, thank you so much, Vicky, for that. And for those who are just joining us, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for your time. And you're watching the real chat with Mrs. Mushekanga. Thank you so much for joining in. Feel free to comment, giving your comments, your views, your submissions through the comment box, and surely we are going to make sure we answer all the questions that will come in through the messages, through the comments. And like Wycliffe has said, not all abusive relationships can end into fights, can end into one partner may decide to keep quiet, and but I believe when we go for counseling and we maybe talk about it, maybe something good can come out of it. So, Wycliffe, do you think it is advisable, or would you advise our viewers to like share if someone is in an abusive relationship, an abusive marriage, would you advise them to share maybe with friends, with family, or just to look for a professional counselor to help them out?
Okay. What is most recommendable is that these people try out professionals. Yeah. But still, there are moments when you realize it is always important to disclose to someone who is close to you. Yeah. But still, if you can have access to a professional counselor or a professional social worker, that could be better, because these people could have had uh, experiences in handling these cases, or maybe they could have handled the same case in their previous work. So it is much easier for them to give you what to do, or maybe to help you to make the right move. The reason why I don't quite often recommend people to disclose to anyone is that anyway, as a social worker, just like I told you before, as a social worker, there is always that element of confidentiality and privacy. Yeah. So there is always fear that if you share with anyone, your information can be disclosed to other people, and yet you wouldn't love to see that happening. Yeah. So it means the outcomes of disclosing to anyone you meet may not be surely fruitful, but rather going in for a specialized person or a professional person who can be a counselor or maybe a social worker. So ideally, I wouldn't love to see the victims of these abuses to disclose to anyone, unless maybe it is really extreme. You feel you can't handle it alone. There are times when you can't handle something alone, yeah, and maybe you seek assistance. But it's always important that for any victim should seek assistance from someone you trust, someone perhaps you could have disclosed to so many other issues, and not only this that has just come in a single day or two. So I recommend that for any victim of abuse in a relationship should seek a professional counselor and not necessarily anyone.
Okay, thank you so much, Ricky, once again for that. And to add on what you said, I believe what you said actually, because I think it is best for the couples to, or people in a relationship, maybe they're just fiancé and you have to at least have that should I say like a boundary or a fence within your relationship and your marriage, so that at least when you are to disclose, you talk to a professional counselor, because sometimes you don't know the person you are talking to, and before you know it, it's out there, and we really don't want it to be like that. And something that would have been solved turns out to be so ugly. So, to our viewers out there, in case you are facing a challenge in your marriage, in your relationship, it's always best you go with your partner or your fiancé or your husband or your wife. You go and see a professional counselor. That would be the best thing to do. And as I'm seeing, our guest speaker is joining us. Is joining us. Let me allow her in as we continue. Hello.
Hi,
How
hi.
are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So sorry. I
It's
had an impromptu
okay.
meeting today.
Hmm.
I am currently at the airport,
Okay. Thank you. At least you've made it.
but
Thank
I'm
you.
good. I'm good to go.
Okay. You can now go ahead and maybe introduce
Hello.
yourself and
Yes.
yes, and
Co-
say hello to the viewers.
Please come again.
You can say hello to the viewers and introduce yourself, and then we'll continue with the
All
session.
right, sure. So, hello everyone. My name is Lilika Babautu. I'm from Ghana, and I'm a broadcast journalist, and I run a small NGO on the side called Bridge for Equity Ghana, and it's basically a gender advocacy NGO, and we fight for domestic violence, gender education, skills development, and child protection. So, that's who I am.
Okay, thank you so much, Lydical, for your time and for joining us. I know
Thank you for having
creating
me.
time and your busy schedule, but we really appreciate it.
Thank
So,
you for having me.
so to continue with the discussion, the topic is struggles and upheavals in abusive relationships and marriages.
Yeah.
So we are asking, can you tell us more, like help us understand more when we talk about abusive relationships and marriages? Help
Okay.
our viewers
So
understand. Yeah.
so when it comes to um, abusive relationships and marriages, especially in this part of our world in Africa, um, women are seen to endure instead of enjoy marriage. They tell you that, oh, men are like this, or they when a man hits you, it's okay, it's normal. It means you talk too much, and you have to always listen. You can't contribute to anything. So it's almost been normalized, and most women want to win the status of a virtuous woman, so they keep quiet and endure the abuse. However, I must say that it's not just women that go through abusive relationships and marriages. There are some women who abuse their husbands too, and most of the time they do it emotionally. The words they say, their attitude towards them, they're very disrespectful, and all these things contribute to one form of abuse or the other. So basically, if you find yourself in any relationship that stifles your growth, that kills your spirit, that emotionally abuses you, physically abuses you, you should know that you're in an abusive relationship or marriage, and you should find an exit anytime soon. In fact, as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And if I may ask, what could be like the warning signs of an abusive relationship and marriage? How can someone know that they are in an abusive relationship or marriage?
Okay, yes, sure. Um, you know, Usually they start very little and it's very visible all the time, but we choose to ignore them all the time. We decide to, make it slide. We think it's nothing. We think that's who the person is. First of all, if somebody raises their voice often at the slightest thing you do, they have temperament issues, and temperament issue is something that happens and is just in a matter of time that the hands is going to follow what the words are what the words are saying. Sorry, there's so much noise over here, but I hope you bear with me, please. So let me find a place to stand.
Okay,
Is it better?
yeah.
Okay, so it's just with a matter of time that people, move their hands to what they are saying. First sign of an abusive relationship is when the person, is always tempted or pushed to lift their hands. Or they start saying things like, if you don't take care, I'll hit you. The next time you do this, I'll hit you. Or when they start using words that dampen your spirit or do not encourage you to achieve your full potential, like you are you're stupid, you're mad, you're good for nothing, you're useless, I don't even know why I came for you. Words like this is just a matter of time that the person will lift their hands to physically abuse you, and in a worst case scenario, stab you or kill you or shoot you or take you out of this world. Most of the time, we women especially, we see these things and we think it's normal because a man is supposed to have an ego, and so we have normalized the egos of men to the extent that now when they hit us, it's normal. And then when you go to the family, they tell you to endure it because it comes with being in a marriage or in a relationship, and it's not supposed to be so. So first of all, if you realize that the person is easily getting agitated by the slightest mistakes you do, the person is unforgiving, the person uses your past against you, the person doesn't say kind words to you, the person discourages you when you want to move from point A to B. In fact, the person doesn't have your best interest at heart. When the person starts saying that, I don't want you to talk to this person again, instead of talking out of love, you see the person instructing you, commanding you. These are clear signs of an abusive person. And the sooner you run away from that relationship or marriage, the better. Recently in Ghana, I mean, it happened in the US, but then a Ghanaian pastor killed his wife, shot her 7 times, um, because he's an abusive person. And he had been threatening this woman. She had stayed in the abusive marriage for over 7 years. She's been there. It's always been like that. It was just a matter of time that he put his words to action, and now we don't have her around anymore. So the sooner we decide to run away, the better for us all.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for that. But then this leads me to another question. Can an abusive partner in a relationship change for better, or do we always have to run away?
I do not believe that people would change for better. Here's the thing about abusive people. Please hold on. Let me just leave here. Give me 1 minute.
Okay, okay,
Please hold on. I'm checking out. Give me 1 minute. I'm coming. Sorry. Thank you.
yeah, I feel quickly if you can take up that as she comes back on.
Okay, I think she's trying to settle down.
Mm.
Can you hear me, Irene?
Yes, yes, you can hear.
Yeah, we are looking at the possibilities of these victims getting a better relationship again. Yeah. So we are trying to see if the situation is reversible. Are there possibilities that maybe those people can still have something better for them? Because I believe for any relationship or marriage to start, there could be something in common these people have, this couple has. So it means that thing is still existing. Yeah, it has not died off. So it is important to give this relationship some good time so that maybe it can be rebuilt. Yeah. Sometimes the couples may be having the solutions themselves, or maybe they fail completely to have the solutions. Yeah. And when they fail, it means someone else is most likely to come in. And the person who comes in is a counselor or a trained social worker. Yeah. Even before we go extreme, even before we think about the legal platforms, yeah, we the people or the couple have the solutions themselves. Yeah. One, uh, for these people to settle down or to reverse the situation, there should be something in common with them. If they have contradictions every day, perhaps maybe this man watches football, yeah, football matches every night, and maybe this woman is not in for that. That small issue can bring issues. But at least if this woman says no, it's fine, as long as I trust this man, let him be with the friends, let them chill, let them have fun, but of course regulated fun. And maybe this man comes home early, maybe matches of around 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. Yeah. But if there is that major contradiction every time this man goes out for a match, that is just a mere example. There are so many examples. If this woman tries to contradict this man every day, that's what brings most fights. So it is important that this man and this woman have something in common, have so many things of interest in common. Yeah. And two, I don't think quitting is a solution, because even when you quit, you will need love at some point. Yeah. You'll need this lady, and perhaps if you could have stayed with her for quite a long time, there are those moments when you have memories of what you've been going through. Yeah. So it may not be necessary for these people to quit the relationship. I think quitting should come at times when you feel I think it is getting too much. But there are chances that this relationship can be rebuilt, and can be rebuilt by three major people: the couple made of a man and a woman, or a social worker, or a counselor, or maybe a friend, if they have the ability to handle these situations. Back to you, Irene.
So thank you so much, Ricky. Lily Carl, hope
All
you've settled
right.
in.
So okay. So I was about to answer the question that you asked, that should they always give them a second chance? Like, do people change, right? You see,
Yes,
when it comes to the issue of abuse, is a character issue, okay? And something that is somebody's character, you don't have to be the one to wait and sit by it to wait till the person changes. A character defines a person. It is who the person is. So it defines a person, and it is who a person is. So you do not sit there and wait hoping that the person is going to change. If you find yourself in an abusive relationship, there I don't subscribe to second chances. I don't subscribe to it will be well, it shall be well, it's going to be well. I subscribe to report and leave immediately. It is never worth it. Um, the number of times, I'm so sorry, but the number of times that we hear the number of times that we hear about the negative effects of abuse is more or supersedes the number of times that the people change, or or become better people. It doesn't give yourself in an abusive relationship. Don't sit there waiting that people can change. Of course, people do change. However, you do not
Since we are
sit
losing
that
you,
and say that
Lyrical,
because of that I am waiting. So I believe people will change, but if you find yourself in such a relationship, don't stay waiting and hoping that they are going to change.
okay. So I think from what you have said, though the network was a bit unstable, you believe people are not going to change. And so what do we advise? What do we advise someone who is out there? Maybe they feel they love the person that is abusing them. Maybe they feel they can't walk away because trust me, some want to walk away, but they feel threatened. Some abusive partners go ahead to threaten them and tell them, once you go, maybe I will do this to your children, maybe I will do this to your children, or whatever. I don't know. But I think there has to be a reason and behind why people actually don't don't walk away, don't easily walk away from abusive relationships and marriages. So Wycliffe, do you think there are reasons, or are there reasons why people actually stay in abusive relationships and marriages? Wycliffe, I can't seem to hear you. Wycliffe, can you hear me? Yes, yes, I can now hear you.
Well, I was trying to break down reasons or justifications why these people stay in abusive relationships, whether a man or a woman or a lady or
Yeah, since we have come to this, but as the discussion was going on, for those who have just joined us, it's a real chat to thank you so much for joining in. And hello, you
Aha,
can.
hi. Sorry,
Yes,
my network cuts me out.
yes. So I was asking whether there are some reasons that keep people in abusive relationships and marriages, like they want to go but they cannot go, they cannot stay. Could there be some genuine
Oh
reasons
yes,
why?
yes. Sometimes people enter into relationships without the approval of their family. I'm talking in the setting of Africa, and you always need your family. We always say that you don't marry each other, you marry the whole family. So when people don't get the blessing of their family and they enter into the marriage, and it's an abusive one, they now find it difficult to return because they don't want to face the backlash of the whole family. I told you so, and why did you go, and all of that. So instead of facing the shame, quote unquote, they would rather, stay in the relationship and endure everything that comes with it. Then they start blaming themselves. They start thinking that it's their fault that all of this has been happening to them, and all of that. They feel it's not because they did not get the blessing. It's even as a result of not getting the blessing from their family, which is really terrible. However, it's one of the reasons. Another reason is with the hope of change.
Okay.
Most of the time people have the hope.
Lily Powell, we seem not to hear you very well. Like the network is breaking. So Lily Powell was talking about the reasons why people stay in abusive relationships and marriages. So you can also try to answer that as she gets a stable network.
Uh, can you hear me now? Am I
Yes,
audible?
I can hear you.
Now, good afternoon. I'm a bit late. I got caught up with something, but glad to be here. Yeah, so for abusive relationships, there are various reasons why people within, stay in the relationships. It could be just simple relationships, marriages, because our topic is catering to both relationships and marriages. Yeah, so one of the reasons is fear. Yeah, you find that someone wants to leave the relationship, but they are fearful. Yeah, the let's say the spouse goes to an extent of even telling her or him that if you go, I will come after you, kill everyone you know, kill your relatives, kill your friends. So with that fear, the person says it's better if I stick around when I'm the only one suffering, as the rest are at least okay. Yeah. Then another thing is the children. You look at the families, like the women mostly. She wants to leave, but she looks at the young ones. She has probably 4 children. One is in P1, P2. You know those children who follow each other, even if they're not following each other, you look at it and you're like, how could I leave these young ones? How am I going to fend for them? Eh? Yeah, so she's like, let me stay, even if I'm being abused, I'm being tortured, I'm being beaten. At least my children are growing. Let me stay until they reach probably senior one, or they reach university. They'll be old enough to cater for themselves. Yeah? Things like that. Then there's one incident whereby people are posting their experiences of as to why they stay in these relationships or abusive marriages. Then one person posted and said, I only stayed because I tried to leave and the gentleman blocked my passage. Like, like she tried to run out of the house and he blocked the door. So she's like, I can't leave because of that. Every time I try, he blocks me. Probably she's weaker than him, so such a person has no choice but to stay in such a relationship. Maybe another one is the family expectations. I think Lily Powell talked about the family bit of it. Yeah. Some people you get married, they tell you in our family we are people who don't run away from their husband. Yeah. So you stay there, the family expectations are high. You're supposed to not spoil our name as someone who ran away from the husband. So you find that the person just sticks there, hangs in there. It's like, what will the family members say? What will the relatives say? So we have such cases of such people who stay in those relationships. Then there are financial constraints. You know, in most settings, most women are housewives, and the man is the one who fends for the family. So in such situations, even if you want to leave, if the man is the abusive type, even if you want to leave, how are you going to fend for yourself? That's the first thing. And again, if you add the element of the children, then it becomes quite hard to live. You just hang in there. Yeah. Then I think another one, another reason someone mentioned, I want to be a savior. Eh? you know that aspect. You're like, I'm the one who made him change. I know he can change. I know that person can change, something like that. So you stick around, you do this, you do that. You're like, I want him to change. I want to be the one whom they say, oh, she's the one who changed him. So she sticks around in the relationship. So there are such cases as well. Basically, there are very many complicated reasons as to why people stay. Yeah? But those are the few I could list, I guess. Yeah, back to you, Irene. Oh, one more. Can I give one more? There is one of the self worth. You know, when you're in abusive marriages, abusive relationships, people tend to lose their self esteem. So, yeah, so someone says, ah, I probably deserve this. Eh? That self esteem is so low to an extent that she's willing to settle for whatever is being done to her as long as she moves on with her life. She's like, I probably deserve all this. Like, she can't stand up for herself. She can't think of getting the courage to live. Yeah, that's how low some people's self-esteem becomes when they're in such relationships and marriages. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Olive. Thank you so much for that. And for those who have just joined us, the real chat with Mrs. Mute Kanga, and our topic is the struggles and upheavals in abusive relationships and marriages. Right now, Olive was answering a question about why people stay in abusive relationships or marriages, or why do people find it hard to leave abusive relationships or marriages. And yes, welcome back, Lily Pao. I
Yes.
was still on the question of why do people find it hard to live abusive relationships and marriages, and what could
Yeah.
be the reason?
Okay. Okay. So I stated earlier about the fact that people think about their family, what the family will say. Then they think about the fact that they stand on the hope that the person will change, so they keep staying. Another point is that people rely on their spouses for daily source of income and for their daily upkeep, especially women in such abusive relationships. They depend on their husbands to give them daily cash, what we term as chop money. They want to receive money from him all the time. That's how they survive. They really don't have substantial jobs. So because of that, they feel that, well, he's taking care of me. So if once in a while, or if he decides to beat me if I do something wrong, or if he decides to verbally abuse me, or any form of abuse method to me if I do something wrong, they feel that it's all right. Then they keep staying. Another thing is the children. One excuse that I've heard most people in abusive marriages or relationships do is that they say that children will live in a divided home and they don't want to raise their children in a divided home. But what they don't realize is that the children never stay as kids anymore for a very long time. They always see what is going on and they always see how sad you get. They always know that you cry, but then they try to stay there with you because that's the choice you have made. If parents or if people who are in abusive relationships will ask their children for them to genuinely answer them, they will realize that sorry, they will realize that oh sorry, they'll realize that most of their children would rather wish, oh god, would rather wish they left the marriage than stayed because they see the pain that they go through. But then most women use the excuse of children as a reason to stay. Now, here's the thing: there's nothing worth anything if it threatens your life. Once it threatens your life, there is no excuse to stay. So these are, I'll say, the five major reasons why most people stay in abusive relationships. Now I can't hear.
Thank you so much, Lily Pao, for that. And okay, like we've talked about it, maybe to find it hard to live because of certain reasons and all that. But when does someone actually get to know it's time to walk away? Because we've seen many couples, you find the husband ends up killing the wife, or the wife ends up killing the husband. Do we really have to always wait to be killed so that we can know that we can actually be killed? What exactly can we do? Because at the end of the day, like you said, if someone is there for their children, once you are killed, then you will have to definitely leave your children, however little, however young they are. Even the threats, yeah, the threats are going to your family and all that. But at the end of the day, if you die, because you've been in an abusive relationship and maybe it has happened and your partner has killed you, your family is also going to lose out. So when is the right time for someone to know, at this point, I think it's the time for me to walk away? Over to you, Lily Pal. Olive, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Irene, I see someone in the comments
Hmm.
saying that we are, but you're looking at it one-sided. It's McDonald. He's saying we are looking at it one-sided. Please bring me on board. I want to join the discussion. So, McDonald, what you can do is you can still comment, give in your submission on Facebook, and tell us what your view is in the comments. We'll read it out. Um, I don't know which aspect he's trying to say, how we are making it one sided, probably because we are only looking at the women as those who are being abused. I saw Wycliffe was on a bit, but the abuser and the victims are both women and men. The only difference is men don't usually come out to say it that I'm being abused. Yeah, the woman may reach up certain point and it's being seen, but for men it's very hard. Like I discussed with you some time back, we have a neighbor that he's a gentleman. He's actually a security personnel and army personnel. Like he's expected to be the man of the house, and the wife used to beat the man. He gets back home, the woman just beats him up, and the whole neighborhood could get to know. So this is a man who was being abused, but do you think he could say anything? It's the rumors which used to go around, oh, today did you see what they did to him? Things like that. So until at a certain point, I think the gentleman just went to the police and the woman moved out of his house. And right now, you bypass the house and he's seated on the veranda listening to his radio, very calm. Yeah. So it's all about the courage. We can't say it's only the women, whether it's the men or the women. Once you get that courage to, to talk out, speak out, seek help, I'm sure you can find a solution for yourself. Yeah. So back to your question, Irene. I think you're trying to ask about the solutions. Is it? Yeah. Yeah. Like if these people are in these relationships, what can they do get out of these abusive relationships and marriages? Yeah. Yeah. So there is some advice. I think it was by Pope Francis, who gave some advice to the married people. He was like, speak to one another, love one another more, so that you don't resort to aspects of just grabbing someone's throat. Don't resort to violence. Try and settle your arguments verbally. Try and settle arguments without resorting to the extreme measures of violence. Another advice was sensitization and awareness. Keep the sensitization and awareness ongoing. Sorry. You get it? Yeah, this can never be enough. There's always that one person who is not informed. Knowledge is power. Keep the sensitization going. Keep telling them if you're being grabbed by the throat, that's not healthy. Yeah. If you're being beaten by your husband, by your wife, that's not healthy. That's abuse. So for us in the African society, we practically don't take the emotional abuse as abuse. Yeah, the verbal abuse. Sometimes people just cheer on the person abusing verbally, or you can abuse something like that. Yeah. So we need to take these matters seriously. Tell people that if you're being emotionally abused, it's wrong also. Yeah. The sensitization always helps. I find that sensitization and awareness, there's always that one person who is unaware of whatever is happening to themselves. Yeah. Then you look at the women empowerment through skill building. Yeah, this is the daily norm of if you're not working, you don't have a source of income. Probably that's why someone is stepping all over you. Get something to do, skill yourself, start the tailoring business, start a simple business, earn some income whereby if worst comes to the worst, you can at least do what? Start your own life elsewhere. Yeah? Then get help. You know, there are some people who abuse others because of alcoholism or drug abuse. You get, yeah. So such people, if you realize your spouse is a drug addict, is an alcoholic, yeah, get help. Yeah, try and treat that aspect of them. Yeah, probably that's why they are beating you up. Probably that's why they are torturing you in your marriage. Yeah, so some of these signs are evident. You find the person is a drug dealer. Obviously every time they take drugs they're going to resort to beating you up. Yeah, then join support groups. Yeah, join support groups to make your home a violent free home. Make your home a violent free home. I think we talked about that before. But join support groups. These people are always out there. You know, sometimes it's hard to address this issue alone. You think you're the only one suffering, but when you find that there's someone else out there, yeah, if there's someone else going through this, they can tell you, I ended up like this is how I managed to solve that problem. You pick a leaf. Yeah. So that is also helpful. Then the main the main solution out there, I believe, is the counseling solution. Learn for counseling, seek help. I will still use the example of Uganda, where people take counseling to be a foreign thing, foreign as activity. Like, how do they see me going for counseling? Yeah? You know, but this is something you can do to seek help and advice from a professional person. They could probably speak to your spouse. Yeah, if you're willing to reconcile, yeah, they could help you throughout that. Or if you're willing to still live, yeah, they can still help out. I believe seeking help is also good. Yeah. Then there are some people who have, you know, like this one, whereby the spouse can access your phone, your computer, like everything. Yeah. So try and, if you're trying to report probably to the police, maybe use a safe phone, use a safe computer whereby the person can't get to know. Yeah, you know, they can become more violent even if they find out you're trying to break free from them. Yeah, so that's those are some of the solutions I could think of for now. Back to you, Irene.
Thank you so much, Olive. And Mark, Mark, don't, how can I pronounce it? But yeah, we've seen the comments and thank you so much for joining in. And I believe the conversation is not one-sided because we are looking at abusive marriages and relationships, and we are looking at both sides, the husband and the wife, the male and the female side. We are all abused, but only that only the only challenge is men tend to keep quiet, and they feel they can solve it on their own. But I think we know very well that both parties, wife can be abused and the husband can be abused, and they both need help. So, like Olive has said, we have to look for a counselor, we have to go for professional help and advice. That is one. Secondly, don't trust everyone and go telling your issues to everyone. Trust a professional counselor where you can go, and don't go alone if you feel you are being abused, I think you talk to your partner about seeing the counselor together so that you all get advice, and the counselor gets to hear from both parties. Then again, as we talked about the warning signs, maybe sometimes if someone shouts at you every time, if they want to be or to be in control over everything, economically, physically, they even turn out to abuse you physically, they beat you up and they do all that. Please, if you feel it is becoming too much, yes, you love your children so much, yes, you love your relatives so much, but think about yourself. How are you going to take care of those children if you are not alive? Don't first be killed so that you can move out of the relationship, because you can't move out once you've been killed. So as we are talking about all this, I see all our guests are actually off. But to summarize everything, for those who have just joined in, we've been talking about the struggles and upheavals of abusive relationships and marriages. Sometimes there are some things that cause our partners to be abusive, and when you get to know that, then you can look for a solution. If he's a drug addict, if he's maybe an alcoholic, and if you know that treating that is going to help him get back to being himself and stop abusing you, then I think you can look for professional help regarding that. Otherwise, James, thank you for joining in. I think we will consider you next time because we are already out of time, I can see. But thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for joining in. And as you said, please seek professional help. There is free online counseling right here on the page, and also there is a one-on-one free counseling on. You can check out the Caro Attiwe Cancer Foundation page. They have one-on-one, I think one-on-one counseling sessions for those who really need to talk to a counselor. They are based in I think, Kalere, so you can reach out to them and you get to know how you can get to have those counseling sessions in case you are in need of counselor, free of charge. You don't have to pay anything. And also, I'm so happy you joined us. I hope you've learned something from all this. Yes, an abusive marriage or relationship doesn't have to be just physical, but also it is emotional, can be verbal. Someone can tell you something that can torture you. It can be economical. You find someone they don't give you any access to the money and you're just there. They come and they are controlling everything in a marriage or in a relationship. So yes, thank you so much for joining in. I look forward to hosting you next time. And I think I can allow Olive to give her final remarks. Olive, we are concluding. I think you are in the better position to talk about the one-on-one counseling that you offer and where they can get the counseling from, because as we have discussed, I believe counseling is key for anyone in an
Mm.
abusive relationship or for an abusive partner. So take us through that as you give your concluding remarks.
I have to apologize. I think my network today has not been the best. But as Caro Attiwe Cancer Foundation, we are working with St. Kizito Waise Clinic. Yeah, it's a health center in Waise for those in Uganda. And for those elsewhere, we can always join us online. We do have counseling sessions every Saturday and Sunday online. You can send in your questions, ask for help, and we are always there to answer you and help when needed. For the hospital, you can call in and make an appointment. The counseling is free of charge. Yeah, they also offer HIV counseling treatment and care free of charge. So our youth out there and everyone out there, don't fail to access these free services. Seek help. It's not always bad to ask for help. Um, Maybe what I could say in conclusion, We see that the abusive relationships and marriages have gotten worse due to the pandemic. Yeah. So we see that the cases have increased. People are not at peace with each other. They are just in toxic relationships. Now, you find that people who are not seeing each other for about 6 hours a day, you only meet at night probably, but now you're with a person 24 hours. Yeah. So the irritations become more. Yeah. And then you see that the people have lost their jobs, especially our men. Yeah. These are the ones who are supposed to be the men of the house, the ones to provide for the family. But now he's seated at home as well. Yeah. He feels he feels undermined. Yeah. So all those situations have led to the abuse to become worse. Yeah. But there are always solutions. Yeah. We find that our abusers, yes, it's a very low percentage for them to change, but some can actually change, and it's up to us to help them change. But if the person has failed to change, please seek help. Yeah. And find a solution. You don't have to stick in such situations. Yeah. Then moving on, we say that even the marriages, there are some abusive marriages, things which are not being talked about. Yeah. But people fear to report cases. You can't report that my husband raped me. Such 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 reports, someone gets embarrassed. Yet it happens, and it's become worse during this time. Yeah, so I wanted to give an example of a situation of what happened during the lockdown. Yeah. There is a lady in southwestern Uganda that she used to go to work, but the husband was locked this side of Kampala. Yeah, during the lockdown, that time where you can't move, you can't go anywhere. He was locked inside. So the woman stayed with the children, and she shares a compound with a brother-in-law. Yeah. So the brother-in-law has always beaten the women and all that. So one day she was at work. When she came back home, she got the brother-in-law red-handed, trying to torture the kids, yeah, and the maid. So she spoke up. But you know what the gentleman said? Boha, this is quarantine. Even if I kill you, no one will know, something like that. So these are situations happening. So what the ladies did, she was fearing, of course, for her life. No one could help out. So she knew the gentleman's history. What she did, she just recorded him every time. He kept on issuing those threats because they're sharing a compound. He just stands over that side and shouts, "Boy, you will see me," such things. So she recorded and barely went to the police. So they started looking for the gentleman, but she can't go back home because she fears. What if I'm home and he still finds a way of finding me? So abuse, violence is happening in all forms, and it has gotten worse during this time. So I call upon our gentlemen, I call upon our women, our youth, everyone, mothers, fathers, the religious leaders, yeah, our government leaders, everyone. Let's work together to end this. Yeah? Let's avail means for people to come forward freely. Yeah? Let's find solutions to this problem. And I hope working together, indeed, we will find a solution. Back to you, Irene.
Thank you so much, Olive. And as we conclude, I want to thank all our guest speaker, and the panelists. Thank you so much for all your submissions and contributions. And for let Joshua Salemwa, who wants to join the conversation, I think if there is any youth out there who feels they really want to be a part of this, we can always bring you on as a guest speaker, because this is about helping us, the youth, bring out our views, discuss things that are affecting us. And this is a platform for everyone. No segregation. If you feel you really want to be a part of it, you have an issue you feel we should discuss right here, then you are welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for giving us your time. Till next time. Bye.
Bye.